Good to go. I got 7:16.
All right, at 7:16, we'll call the order. The public hearing and plan commission, well, the public hearing, can we do a roll call?
Yes. President Gerke,
Here.
Trustee Blum,
Here.
Inspector Alhaffen,
Here.
Commissioner Eberly,
Still here.
Commissioner Howard, Commissioner McCormick, Commissioner Lesser.
Here.
We've got Attorney Larson and Planner Sumwalt. We have Engineer Lysis in the audience, Administrator Green, and Clerk Capazzo to record the minutes.
All right, I don't have my script handy, and you do not for me, but which is fine, but I don't think we don't have anyone online.
We do have a couple of people online.
Okay. So if there's a. Can you pass that?
Before the script, if you want to start reading the public hearing notice on the agenda.
All right, so we are, I guess, resuming the public hearing, which will consider the request of the applicant, James Heinrichs and Hometown Storage Solutions LLC on behalf of the property owner, Jim Wesp and the Wesp Family Trust for a conditional use permit to allow a self-storage facility at the northeasternmost 3 acres of the vacant 15.65 acre parcel in the B3 General Business District located along County Road Q, identified as Lisbon tax key number 0161.999.010, now known as Lot 2 of CSM 12806. This item was adjourned from the April 22nd Plan Commission meeting. So we read the public hearing into the record. Oren will give his presentation, and then if you'd like to step back up and make your presentation, you can, and then the commission will ask our questions that we have at that point. So Oren, you did present an overview of the last meeting. I mean, anything you want to recap here?
I think the main thing that I want to recap is that since our last meeting, the certified survey map for this development was recorded with the county. We now have Lot 2 of CSM 12806 as the official title of this lot. And we do have tax parcel numbers. Speaking with the clerk prior to the meeting, those won't be official in the county system until
Correct.
January 1st.
It is because those tax key numbers do not become effective until January 1st of 2027. The correct legal description for that lot is Lot 2 of CSM number 12806, and it is still currently identified with this tax key number through the end of December 31st of this year.
So in both staff review for both the conditional use permit and the site plan of operation, I updated in the overview the rationale for why the item was tabled. I noted that the clerk received confirmation from Waukesha County Register of Deeds on May 20th that the certified survey map was recorded as number 12806, document 4876964. Subsequently, the village has received a certified copy of that recording, which we have here. So we didn't get the tax parcel number, but we do have a lot that exists today outside of our rezoning exhibit and the legal from that. So that's the update, the big news since the last meeting. We do have other additional information from the petitioner as well, which was included in the packets. There's a updated set of civil plans. The updated site plan, I believe, is in your packet, and that would be sheet C 1.02 of the civil set. There's also an updated lighting plan. One of FOTH's recommendations in the site plan of operation staff report from the prior meeting was that some of the lighting wasn't meeting the standards of the village as previously proposed. The petitioner went back, had their contracted staff update that plan, and the current plan that's in the packets does meet the village's standards. And so I removed in my updated staff review for the site plan of operation dated 5/22/26. I've removed the prior condition related to that. And if you look at the section on exterior lighting, which is F, I updated that information based on the new plan set. So one of the things I point out, and I think this is just important for any conversations about the project is phased. The petitioner is under contract to purchase this lot 2. His second phase is on a different lot that he doesn't currently own, but is planning to buy in the future from the current property owner. And so in both staff reviews, I'm careful to say that the review is for phase 1 and the approvals are set up to be for phase 1. The detailed information that's shown for phase 2 is helpful because it helps all of us understand what the long-range plan is. But our technical review and the specific way that this is set up, should the Plan Commission want to approve as proposed, is just for phase 1. Phase 2 would need to come back. There would have to, the lot exists now for the lot 1 of the CSM, which is the proposed phase 2. The only thing happening currently on that is the grading. So the grading plan includes that parcel. It's planned that at build out, that parcel could be served by the stormwater pond that's on phase 2, or phase 1 rather, lot 2. The intent is to rough grade lot 1, which is phase 2, as part of the grading for phase 1, which is on lot 2, and then put back the topsoil and allow that to continue to be farmed, is what the petitioner is proposing for that. So that's the main bit of phase 2 that's being looked at currently. The way that access works out, there's an easement. I guess I'll zoom in on the civil set. So the actual driveway will be within that easement area, which is technically on lot 1. That's why it was set up with an easement, so that the way that we knew the developer was proposing to phase this, the improvements can be done within that easement area on lot 1 to the benefit of lot 2 and the first phase of this development. So again, that's what's limited in our scope to lot 1 and phase 2. The rest of the buildings that are being shown on lot 1 and phase 2 and the lighting, the landscaping portions, all of that, we aren't looking at currently. So I made a note under the lighting section in my site plan of operations staff review that some of the lighting levels look higher at those property lines where lot 1 and lot 2 come together, because they're showing lights on future buildings within the second phase. And so currently the lights won't be as bright there. So the reason that matters to me and why I'm bringing it up now, should phase 2 on lot 1 not come to fruition, all of the lighting within phase 1 on lot 2 is looking like it'll meet the requirements. So let's say somebody proposes to build a home on lot 1 in the future for whatever reason. Lighting levels should be good as proposed. Obviously, that's not what's intended to happen. What's intended to happen is that a couple of years down the line, after building phase 1, Mr. Heinrichs purchases lot 1 to build his phase 2. That's what he is intending. And we'll look at the should those lots be combined in the future so that this is all on one parcel, then we won't have the issue of light levels at the lot lines not meeting code. So I have a little discussion about that under the exterior lighting, probably more detail than any of you wanted, but I just wanted you all to know that I looked at it. The engineer looked at some updated stormwater plans and some other things that they had comments on. I'll defer to Mitch to go over anything that he wants to bring up on that. The last point that I'll bring up is that there was additional information provided by the petitioner regarding their proposed septic field on the east end of the parcel. They contracted with Hare out of Oconomowoc, I believe, and that was at the suggestion of the county that they work with a certified septic installer. And so they've got some correspondence between them and Hare regarding the site and the qualifications from that installer. And again, the site plan is showing that proposed septic field. Again, this is in the civil plan set sheet C1.02. And for this phase, for phase one, it's showing a 258-foot by 6-foot septic field. That's the room that they feel they could potentially dedicate to that. If you read the details of the letter, they don't necessarily think that that much length would be needed, but the 6-foot width likely would. We looked into the setbacks of what would be required. The septic field would be required to be at least 5 feet off the lot line, at least 10 feet from the building, and that is what is being shown. The one,
So not to cut you off, I mean,
Go ahead.
You got a lot of information in here. I think everyone's probably read it all. So I mean,
Yeah.
we're looking for the highlights. Is there anything
That-
else that,
that's the highlights, the CSM recorded, the lighting plan updated, and additional information regarding the septic provided.
all right. James, it's your turn. Do you have anything you want to add on the conditional use permit? I mean, during the meeting itself, we'll take those other two items separately. Anything during the public hearing on the conditional? Okay, no. Before I go over the rules, is there anyone at home that wishes, so the public hearing is open. Is there anyone that wishes to speak via
If
Zoom?
there is anyone on Zoom who wishes to speak during this public hearing, please use the raise hand function. There are no hands raised on Zoom.
Any of the commissioners have any questions or discussions during the public hearing? Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I've got several. Do you want to come up here because make life easier for you? I went over Fo's report and the plans that were submitted last time and this time, and I've got a number of questions and concerns. Number one, if you go to Fo's review on page 2, I'm gonna go in order here to keep things in sequence. First of all, comment number B, lowercase b, has the fire department signed off on the plan for the fire truck access? Have we received anything from Pewaukee?
I sent it to the fire chief. He responded. He had no issues.
Okay. That takes care of that. Next is item number D. We're referring to a screening berm, wall, or fence. And your response is that the screening provided was created to address the aesthetics of the site. What screening do you have alongside the east side of the development?
So we have substantial landscaping exceeding the landscape point requirement for the site to provide the proper screening between the parcel and adjacent properties.
Okay, how tall are those plantings?
It varies based on the.
I mean, what's the tallest thing that you've got out there?
Probably some of the arborvitae's.
Which would be how tall?
I believe it's stated in the packet. I don't have the
Okay,
direct
Wait.
dimensions in front of me.
That's along the east side?
It's throughout the property.
no, I'm talking about the screening for the development, which would be primarily the east side of your development, which is the common property line with Quick Trip. And I'm concerned about the screening there. There's obviously no berm there. And you've got some landscaping. I know that you submitted a landscaping plan. But I'm also concerned along the same thought. All those building, that whole building is identical as the three buildings that are 90 degrees to that south of there. I would like to see those buildings not be identical next to each other, whether it's by color or by something on there, so it isn't looking like the same thing, four buildings in a row. So we have some type of aesthetics there, because that's what the public is going to see. They're not gonna see the west side or the north side of these buildings. So I'd like to see something changed architecturally on the ends of those buildings. It wouldn't take a whole lot, but just so they don't look the same. Identical.
Will there be enough room to do landscaping between the septic bed and the buildings?
Well, we're gonna get into the septic later, but that's a concern.
That's why I asked, when you
Yeah,
say
we've
east
only
side, I
got
don't see any
20,
room there.
we've only got 20 feet between the building itself and the property line. 20 feet. So if you figure a landscaping bed of 4 to 6 feet, plus you've got another 6 feet to the septic field, that is theoretical at this point. There is no septic plan for that. Then you've got 6 feet on the other side, and you've got 5 feet that has to be off the property line. The math doesn't work. You'd
Okay,
be-
so I guess to start, so on building 5 there, I believe there's 10 feet between the back of the building and then the septic field. Theoretical space that we're dedicating to whatever the septic installer needs. So the septic installer needs, I believe it's 660 square feet, in which the 6 foot width that is shown, that's the absolute max that's allowed for a distribution cell. The standard width that they install is 2 to 3 feet. So when we put together this plan, it was just to provide the maximum amount of width that they would need for a distribution cell. They like a long, narrow run for the septic install. So we provided as much length running down as they could possibly want. Out of the length that we have provided, they only need right now 40% of the proposed space. So we can definitely narrow the actual install to well within that 6 feet. And then just extend that line further, that distribution cell further.
Well, we'll get into the septic questions I've got later, but let me go through the rest of this, because right now I'd like something to occur on the ends of those buildings. And the side of the first building is the long building. I forget which number that is. And
Number
that
5.
and the other 3 buildings that are perpendicular, so they don't look identical. Otherwise, I don't think it's gonna look very attractive at all from the east.
Would it be possible to pull up the 3D rendering? I don't know if that's something we could pull
Yeah,
up on the
those
screen.
we're talking about 4 buildings.
Or 3.
4. There's one that runs north-south, and then
Bear with
there's
me a
3 that
second, I'll
run
bring it up.
east-west.
I'm gonna come back, Warren. What are you thinking?
Yeah, why don't you come back? I'm just looking through
Okay,
the middle
can
from the
keep
last
going
meeting.
then. The next question I have is regarding item E, can you explain with no fencing and no gate, how the security on this, I know you mentioned some type of a system that's gonna notify somebody if there's an issue, but how does the Knox box work with no fencing and no gate?
So my understanding is that the keys would be in the box.
The keys to what?
The locked contractor units would be in the box. Just,
Fire department has them on the fire trucks.
But what about the rest of the other that's only one building. What about the other ones?
That's all of them. That's the master key.
So you're gonna have one master key for every garage door and every door in that whole thing?
no,
The storage units are different than the contractor things.
correct.
Yeah, but wouldn't the fire department need access to those? Okay, I'm just asking.
If they're on at a storage unit, you can bring your own lock normally. But for the actual business, those would be normal, like a normal business lock.
Okay,
Cause you wouldn't even have keys to the storage unit ones, would you? You just cut. the
no,
lock
not
up.
somebody
So-
put their own lock on.
Yeah.
Locks will be placed on the units, but
Yeah.
yeah, they'll be locked at all times.
Okay, as in the planner's report, it refers to the fact that only these units will only be used for personal storage purposes. I just want to clarify and have it on the record. There's going to be nothing stored in any of the units, whether the individual storage units or the contractors, that's going to be other than personal storage items.
No. No, the,
What's,
No,
I mean, like a church can rent a unit and put something, I mean, on a box.
I'm going by what the ordinance says. The zoning code says the units shall be for personal storage purposes only.
so the point of having the contractor building is to support space for small businesses. So that's where those units in the larger building, they're bigger units. They have utilities.
Right, they're two different, we're talking, I mean, I think you're both might be right, we're talking about two different items, right?
No,
No.
he's referring to all the
No.
buildings in the property.
Okay.
Orin is quoting what the zoning code says. It says the units shall be for personal storage purposes only.
So
Barney, want to jump in?
Yeah, so the difference between the two uses, the self-storage, the bulk of the buildings and the development are for self-storage. Building 5 in this phase is the only one that has any proposed contractor storage. The other term that we've used previously in other iterations of this project was, the quote contractor condos. We're basing that off of something that was added to the zoning code when we did the Mudjackers project. We went through and created a new land use, KK. I
it was a
think the
new
number.
permitted use under the B2 general
Right.
business district, and I believe it was item KK under permitted uses.
The idea of that was to
They're
allow
similar
for contractor
uses,
uses, yeah.
correct.
Contractor type uses that don't have the outdoor storage component associated with them, where the business is primarily going to be, an office and storing things indoors. And so that particular land use being allowed in the B2 means that it's also allowed in the B3. And so it's the self-storage component that's requiring the conditional use. If Mr. Heiners just wanted to propose this contractor use and have that in all of the buildings, we'd be just talking about a site plan and not necessarily getting into the CU considerations. So the site can have both. The CU is for the self-storage aspect of the use. When we get into both site plan of operation staff review, I'm describing the use as being limited to contractor storage and self-storage, so both. And I go on to kind of elaborate what the limit to the contractor storage would be. So the contractor storage may include general business, trades, and personal workspace, including indoor storage and workshops, limited to no more than 4 employees on site, and that's at the request of the petitioner. On-site retail service businesses which require customer drop-off and pickup, commercial fabrication and manufacturing, overnight outdoor parking, overnight sleeping in units, and outdoor storage are prohibited. So again, we're trying to put a limit on what can be done in the contractor units. And again, in this phase, it's just building 5, which is the furthest north, the long building, and it is 4 units. So the first 4 units within that space that are being proposed to have that use. The rest of the building would be self-storage, correct?
Okay, I thought I read it differently, but whatever. See what else I had in through here. My biggest concern has to do with the septic system. You haven't had any borings done for the septic system, correct?
Not by the septic company, not yet.
By anybody?
So we've had the soils tested on the site.
But
as
you
part of the
haven't?
CSM, but for the septic, that specific septic location, it has not been done yet.
Okay, so what I'm getting at, and what my concern is, and why I believe we should postpone this until we get the design done, is the septic system that's in the correspondence, that's in the latest packet, is all speculation as far as the design of the septic system. As an example, you've got in there 6 feet wide by 258 feet or something like that. At a 1/4 inch per foot, that pipe's going to be down 8 feet. And you're only 5 feet away from the lot line. The math doesn't work out. In order to review the septic system, we have to have a approved design. And I think we've got the cart way ahead of the horse, because based upon the soil borings, which haven't been done yet, for the septic system, which determine the size, the width and the length and the depth of the septic system, how can we approve a site plan when we don't know if it'll work?
So
And I feel-
that's where we went and we greatly exceeded the space that's needed based on the samplings that we have done.
But that's
So
for the
it-
stormwater pond, which is at the other end of the property. It's not where the borings have to be done for the septic system.
Lauren, you did some research here and you have it in the packet. Do you want to, Attorney Larson, you want to jump in as well? But I mean, otherwise, we'll go ahead and address that.
First, I just want to stay focused on the conditional use. We're in a public hearing on the conditional use. We shouldn't be knee deep in the site plan necessarily. We're talking about the use. I understand they're related, but should stay focused on the issues for the public hearing.
But my concern is the layout, which is the site plan, which deals with the use. How can we review and approve the use if we don't know if the layout will be able to be done? We're way ahead of where we can be. The site plan is done based upon the use and also what else has to go on the site. So it does have to do with the use.
I wonder if it would be time though to close the public hearing and go on and take this up under unfinished business. I don't know if there are other questions for the applicant or.
I don't think we should adjourn this public hearing. We should delay it until we get this information and we see an actual layout and design of the septic system. We're trying to fit 2 pounds of stuff or 5 pounds of stuff in a 2-pound bag. And I understand what Todd Steer says from Hare, but it's all speculation. We don't know,
So
huh?
again, the space that we have shown on the site plan is much, much greater than what he is stating in his professional opinion, based on the soil samples that we have shared with him in the nearby area of what he needs. He only needs 40% of that proposed space. And I
Okay,
know he's still.
So Dan and Orin, you wanted to jump in?
I just wonder, did we require, boring tests when like Swiss Tech came in for their site plan? Did they have all that narrowed down septic fields?
Swiss Tech is in one of our rare sewer service areas.
Oh, that's
as-
right.
As part of the park.
I forgot
But,
about that. Never
um,
mind. But I guess in other approvals for site plans, have we required the county to have approval of the septic system before? And if it's common practice, then fine, but.
Well, I think,
curious.
if I may interject, I think what Joe's trying to say is what happens if it doesn't perk for conventional septic? And I understand he's a professional, the guy gave you his recommendation based on your stormwater, but Quick Trip, which isn't that far away, they have a modified mound system. And they pre-treat their water before it goes into it. So they're not that far away. And I understand Hare is very reputable. I'm not saying he's not. But I guess what he's saying, because a mound takes up a lot more room than what you have here. So I think what Joe's trying to say is, what if it doesn't perk for a septic? What's your contingency plan? Or I guess, because a mound would take up more room than what you have.
And more so, I guess, more so not necessarily, James, where would the plan commission be boxed into if we approve the conditional use permit, but then the site plan that's coming along with it doesn't fit what we have reviewed?
Well, if you look at the conditions that Orin has recommended, he does have a condition, for D. The conditional use is conditioned on Waukesha County Environmental Health Department for the well and septic system.
Yeah, that's the backstop. And
So-
that is generally baked into any approvals where we think there will be a septic system. So the other thing that we reference similarly is, Waukesha County's approval of stormwater management plan, including stormwater maintenance agreement. We usually bake that into an approval that includes any type of stormwater, because those are the two items that require the county's review and approval as part of projects like this.
And if you read the intro language on number 4, it says this conditional use is not in effect until we have that.
But the problem is what is being presented if it doesn't work. And let me quote Mr. Stairs' email that you sent to Lisbon. It says, in the event, he's saying that it should only take 110 feet by 6 feet wide. The next paragraph says, in the event 110 feet of length is not available, the 110 would be split into 2 or 3 shorter cells, which would be 2 or 3 6 by 55 foot cells. We only have 20 feet. It doesn't work. What I'm getting at is you'd have to start all over again. I understand the words that are in the recommendations, but if it doesn't work, as Brian alludes to, you have to start all over again. You can't fit your building where you want to put it. So why wouldn't you go ahead and verify what's going to be needed so that you know you're right? Otherwise, you're going to have to redo everything.
So what he's referring to is that he needs 110 feet of run. We have 258 feet.
If you read what you just read out closer, Joe, that says that they could do it in
He could make it,
multiple segments,
yes, he
but
can make it in multiple segments, but
they don't need to be,
ideal
parallel
one
to each other. They can,
one long skinny run.
We don't know if the septic system is going to work. And I have a real hard problem with this plan commission approving a conditional use based upon what we don't know. We don't have the information in front of us. The county hasn't, first of all, you haven't done the soil borings. You haven't hired somebody to do a septic design. Then it goes to the county. The county hasn't reviewed it and approved it. Then finally you can pull a building or a plumbing permit, and you can't do any of that. And you may have to move your building or change the size of your building, is what I'm getting at. This is for the protection of not only the village, but yourself.
I guess the question, I mean, that, let's circle back to what Dan and Orin said. I mean, is that protection in, and what Attorney Larson said with 4D, is that sufficient protection from the
Well, I'm gonna
village's standpoint,
defer
from
to-
staff's and attorney's perspective?
I'm gonna defer to Eric's opinion on that, so I would think yes, but at the same point, I think we're so far in the weeds now in this public hearing that if we wanna actually get through all the questions and then start discussing this at the actual item, because we're not even on the item yet.
Well, I think, but this is, I mean, I, to Joe's point, if we close the public hearing as opposed to adjourn the public hearing, that's his concern, right? So,
Correct.
So, as you know, our authority over conditional uses is not unlimited. We have limited authority under state law. We can only base our decision on the substantial evidence that's presented. We do have cases within the last few years where our courts have said that, no, you should have approved it and conditioned it. And have sent it back saying, under state law, you have to approve it and you can impose reasonable conditions. And so I do have some concerns on this issue. If we adjourn this for 30 days and wait for the approval, I guess I'm not terribly concerned about litigation under that context, but ultimately, when it comes to a head, it is common, it's expected that there will be conditions. There will be some loose ends that will need to be tied up. That's what a conditional use is.
So Eric, we have in a condition there that he has to have a conventional septic system, or the septic system. I don't think it specifies. So if we approve this, we still have that condition, and if it doesn't perk, then it's his problem. Is that correct? I know,
Right,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to say it,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
downgrading. But-
We're back to square one,
So you'd have to.
honestly,
he would-
because
if the
the
layout goes-
conditional use never went into effect.
Okay, so the layout would then possibly change. I mean, if.
Yeah, so
mean,
honestly,
let's-
worst
let's-
case scenario, I'm just trying to provide something nice in that shop-esque space for small businesses where they can come back, wash their hands at the end of the day and go home. Worst case scenario to Better Rocks, whatever. I would remove that potentially from the proposal, like, don't have, a sink to wash their hands. That's my true worst case scenario. I'm just trying to provide something nice, so that they can wash their hands. That's kind of in the back of my mind, the contingency plan of, okay, worst case scenario, I just remove that feature from the property.
So I guess that's the question for Eric. So the contingency we have is that he has a septic system. And if it doesn't fit and it doesn't work out and he has to relay it out, and then he decides, I'm not gonna have any bathrooms, so then the septic system is eliminated, he still would have to come back as a,
Waukesha County Environmental Health Department for well and septic system. So Waukesha County would not require a septic system if you didn't have a well and so I think.
well, my question is if you get rid of the bathrooms, so now there's no septic system on here, would he have to come back?
Waukesha County wouldn't require one if there's not a need for one, is the way I would interpret.
No,
that.
says you have to
He's talking about a
reapply for
condition.
conditional
He
use.
wouldn't need a
site
new
plan.
conditional use. He would need to update the site plan and plan of operation.
And he'd have to come back to the plan commission. We have to start all over again with all the reviews. Because he'd be moving, the plan that we have in front of us tonight and last month would not be the same as what would be going forward.
Well, let's say the worst case scenario, the 4 contractor condo units get converted to self-storage. It would be really a building elevation change at that point. And it would require less parking, so that wouldn't be a concern. All the other details of the site would be the same because the footprint of the building would be the same. So same amount of impervious, drive aisles stay the same. It would be the elevation of the building, and I did find those just to come full circle to that. So here's the renderings that show what the doors on the contractor units would look like, and what the end caps of the buildings would look like. And then we've actually got architectural plans as well. So this portion of the building would change to look like the south end of it. If there couldn't be contractor, if you can't have the bathrooms, you can't have employees, it could be a larger storage unit, but it couldn't function the way that it would be intended if there can't be bathrooms, because the bathrooms allow there to be the employees, the people there. So,
My question.
so it's and that's
Contractor
more of
condos
a building inspection use of the space issue than it is a zoning issue at that point. But that's what we're talking about potentially being different. So if you can't support people in there, then you can't support that aspect of the use. That aspect of the use was part of the site plan of operation, not necessarily the conditional use for the self-storage. We aren't naming well, I guess this is maybe a question for Eric. The number of units changing, is that going to trigger
It's a conditional use.
I don't think it's gonna change the conditional use, but it might change the site plan.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So again, it comes back to the site plan of operation. So the building elevation would change and the plan of operation would change based on a potential change in that portion of this building.
Right, so if I'm hearing staff correctly and everyone else, there's a comfort with potentially closing the public hearing, although Joe would like to adjourn, but we need to get a consensus here. We're not ending debates. We can still have obviously debate during the plan commission meeting. You don't usually vote on closing public hearings. It's whenever we're done with hearing comments.
well,
Well-
under the circumstances, I think we probably should. I mean, if
Eric, I think previously when there have been questionable conditional uses, we have gone through the responses to each of the standards that are required in the
But
zoning
we're not
code.
to that point yet. We're just trying to decide whether to close the public hearing or adjourn the public hearing. And if Commissioner Everly wants to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing, we can see whether it's seconded and adopted.
Before that, there's still no one on Zoom who wants to make a comment on this item.
Because this is a public hearing, if anyone on Zoom would like to speak, please use the raise hand function.
Joe, do you want to make that motion to adjourn to the?
Well, I don't think I'm to the point yet. To me, here's what the problem is. We're having a public hearing, a hearing in front of the public, and I'm trying to be adversarial here. But we're having a public hearing on a chicken, and the chicken may turn into a duck after the public hearing. The public hasn't had a response to the duck because we had the public hearing on the chicken. That's what I have a problem with going forward with this. Because we'd have to start all over again, have another public hearing, because what is coming before the plan commission and the public is not what was presented at the public hearing. How can you approve the chicken when it's going to be a duck possibly? It's going to cost a whole lot more time and effort by not only the plan commission, but by the petitioner if that happens. And nobody knows because you haven't gone to the step of getting an approved septic system that shows the size, the depth, and the location. and how it fits on this.
Commissioner Eberly, would you rather make a motion to table the public hearing?
I would rather do that. For the protection of the village and for the protection of the petitioner. I would make a motion to postpone or delay the public hearing until we receive that information and it's been reviewed by the county and approved. That we have an approved septic system and a drawing that shows where it's gonna go and how it fits in with the setback between your east property line and that building.
All right, so again, let's make sure we have the same page with terminology. Adjourned is what you had it from the last time, which is the same as tabled, which is, I mean, So-
I'm asking if, since Mr. Eberly will not have the answers to his questions tonight, did he mean to want to table the
table or.
public hearing to the next meeting or to a specific date? Not adjourn, because adjourn would mean that the public hearing was over, and it sounds like Mr. Eberly doesn't want
Right.
to do
I
that.
don't want to split hairs. I think the way he said it was fine. He wants to postpone it until we have, it's a motion to postpone until we have the decision of Waukesha County concerning the septic.
So there's a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Second,
All right, so this is a non-debatable item, so there's discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I heard 3 ayes. All those opposed say nay. Nay. Sean raised a hand. I didn't hear anything from Brian or Rob. Which were you, ayes or nays?
I was thinking too, but I'll be not.
Let's call the roll.
All right.
Call the
Yeah.
roll.
President Gerke,
So the again, motion is to a table or, and I'm a nay.
you're a nay? Okay,
I think we have protection in here.
There's no discussion.
nope, no discussion, just yea or nay. So trustee Baum is a nay. Okay, Commissioner Alhaffen,
Aye.
Commissioner Everly,
Aye.
Commissioner Howard. Commissioner McCormick.
Nay.
Pardon, nay?
Nay.
Thank you. And Commissioner Lesser,
Nay.
nay? I counted 4 ayes and 3 nays, so the motion,
No, it was
4 nays, 3 ayes.
3.
no,
Yeah, I think it's the other way around.
It was, yeah, so Rob, myself, Sean and Kurt were nays. So that's, so it's not.
you're right.
All right, so we're not adjourned. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Hang on. To close?
Yes.
Okay, who's seconding?
I did.
Kurt, thank you.
Roll call again.
Matt,
Aye.
Rob, Brian,
Aye.
Joe,
Nay.
Sherry, Sean,
Aye.
Kurt.
Motion passes 6-1. We're on to item 3, which is citizen comments. Are there any citizens on Zoom that wish to speak on any of the items on tonight's agenda or otherwise?
If anyone on Zoom would like to speak during citizen comment, please use the raise hand function. This is your only chance to speak for the remainder of the meeting. No hands raised on Zoom.
All right, item 4 is approval of the minutes from April. We're just waiting on getting those
Yeah, there's a
finalized.
correction that needed to be made. I was hoping to finish it up, but I still had a couple of paragraphs to finish before I had to leave today. So I'm asking to skip that until next month, and then I will have those as well as tonight's minutes. No motion needed.
Second.
Item 5A is unfinished business. James Heinrichs, you can, do are we fine with that? I think we, all right, everyone's fine with that. We take this out of order. You're
Aye.
Matthew, right?
So
Robert,
six
you're pointing
A,
to the wrong one.
is
I'm sorry.
Robert.
I thought you were the cell phone
six
guy.
B and C is on Zoom.
All right. So Robert, come on up.
6A.
6A. So this is discussion necessary action regarding Robert Miller at Gospel Fellowship for approval of the site plan of operation amendment on the property located at N74 W25332 Howard Lane, Lisbon taxi number 0208.989. Now, Orin, I don't want to needlessly make you be abbreviated, but this is a relatively minor item. You've got a lot of information on the packet. Is there anything that you need to highlight or anything that you'd like to highlight?
Just that the last time that we had this property before us, it was for an addition to the church. At that time, they had temporarily moved existing storage shed to the parking area. They've since put that back. What's being proposed now is a permanent,
It's
not
still on the
okay.
parking lot.
Okay, so, but the goal here is to replace that with this new building. And the new building would be a garage that would have a space for their maintenance equipment that they use for the property. And then it would also have attached to it a pavilion area over pavement where they would have picnic tables that they would be able to use for outdoor events at church. We spoke at length in the last go around for the building addition of what we would allow for the outdoor events. So that's all already in the site plan and plan of operation. They're not proposing any changes to that. They're not proposing any changes to the outdoor lighting associated with this project. So those are the aspects of it that I would bring up. It also includes a small paved area where they can store their waste receptacles, which will be on the north end of the garage. So you wouldn't be able to see it from the road. It would be screened by the building.
All right, anything you'd like to highlight?
No, that was it.
Sure, this is right across the street from you. Do you want to
I went
start?
for a walk at noon, so I walked your parking lot. How are you fitting this in? Is it gonna be in front of the new addition and taking up part of the parking?
No,
Lot?
it's gonna be on the lawn area.
Because you've got the electrical box, the playground, and the septic system all right there.
Yeah, so the septic system is farther to the east.
Right.
And the proposed garage is gonna be right next to the parking lot, behind the electric box, so set back from the church itself, closer to the swing set area.
It didn't look like there was a lot of room for,
There, well, it's
any
only,
development in
the
there.
building's only 20 feet deep, so it's a small garage / shed, so it's gonna come 20 feet off the parking lot, and it's gonna run north and south along the parking lot.
okay, so it'll pretty much go up to the playground area then?
Yes, and there is gonna be the electric comes, but is gonna come between, the running electric line to the back is gonna come between the proposed garage and the playground area, so we're aware where that's at, so that's not gonna be impacted at all. So we've looked at the site plan, and there should be plenty of room to put this 20 by basically 44-foot structure, so.
The electric box won't be underneath the pavilion?
Not at all. No,
Outside of
it's
it?
way closer towards the building. So we're farther north from the electric box.
Any other questions or discussion?
No, I just, like I said, I don't see how it's gonna fit in there with all that stuff in the way, but.
Orin, do you have any concerns on that? I mean, Sherry knows this area obviously very well.
No, as far as it fitting, no, I think there's enough space there to put it. The playground equipment is movable, correct? That's not anchored.
No, it's not. It's just,
It's a-
it would be movable if we needed it to, but there's
Right.
not gonna be impacted by the garage at all.
Right. So the garage is gonna be between that and the parking is what you're saying, kind of
Correct.
in the area that I'm highlighting in here?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's still gonna be 30, 40 feet between 20, 30 feet between the playground and the garage area, so.
All right, is there any other discussion?
Well, my only other concern, which I think Orin addressed, is that it not be used for public venue use. which I think is one of his conditions.
Yep.
Jerry, do you want to make a motion then, or do you want someone else to make the motion? All right, just, is anyone ready to make a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan and plan of operation amendment request for Robert Miller, Gospel Fellowship of Sussex, Inc. For the property located N 74 W 25332 Howard Lane in Sussex. Subject to planner's comments.
I'll second.
All right, is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion unanimously carries. Thank you for witnessing our meetings tonight. And then you said that
Petitioner for 6B and 6C is present and on Zoom.
all right, so we'll take B first, obviously. This is the AT&T Wireless for approval of the site plan of operations amendment for a Class 2 co-location on the existing communication tower located on the Summit Horses and Hay property at N80 W26020 Plainview Road, Lisbon, tax number 0176.996. Oren, you had this summarized, that this was in front of the board who made a determination that this was a, what do we call it, a minor,
Not a substantial.
not substantial.
Non-substantial.
Okay.
Yep, non-substantial modification. So it's a class 2 co-location. It's an equipment upgrade and swap out, if you will. This particular tower was previously shored up to be able to accommodate additional weight on it. If you remember back, they proposed a amendment to the tower to make it stronger, if you will, so that it could handle more weight. So that project had been done, and they previously, I think, expanded the footprint of the ground area as part of that previous application. So this again is just the equipment and some stuff in the building on the ground. There's no significant changes being done to the rest of the site.
All right, so Matthew, we're looking at just this first one off of Plainview Road. Anything that you'd like to add?
I'm available to answer any questions. You have the packets in front of you that, based on my application and based on the report from FOF. To reiterate, these are simply maintenance and upgrades. There will be no change to the tower, no change to the ground compound. And we respectfully ask your approval for the modifications. Thank you. And I'm available if you do have questions.
Matt, is this essentially for a 5G upgrade? Is that the?
Yeah, there are
the-
5G.
The rationale
antennas.
for the new antennas?
Yes.
Okay.
There's also FirstNet. And
Correct.
Yeah, so I do have a couple questions. On this tower, how many providers are currently on the tower?
it's 8. Would you like me to answer that?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Yes, yeah. So AT&T, let me make sure I'm on the right site. This is Plain.
Yep, this is Plainview.
So we're at the top on this one, and then there's one other carrier below. And I'm not sure which of the other two it is. It's either Verizon or
I want to say T-Mobile.
Well, yeah, I think Verizon is on there too. How many providers are on the tower? Do you know?
2,
Just 2.
based on the plans I'm looking at, and I think yes, 2.
So you're replacing some of your existing equipment with new equipment? Is that what the request is?
Yes, three antennas swapped out for 3 new antennas.
And then I got a question for the staff. I know the village board determined that the wireless communication facility modification and request to be non-substantial. What's the definition of non-substantial?
It's actually defined in state law and also in federal law. Anything that increases the height of the tower less than 20 feet is non-substantial, or increases the footprint of the compound at the base by some percentage that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but this clearly is not a substantial change under the statutory definition. We are preempted. We don't have the ability to regulate it more heavily than a class 2 co-location, which is a permitted use under state law.
So the power of the equipment that's being put on a tower does not qualify for substantial. So if they go from a 3G to a 5G antenna, that doesn't qualify for substantial.
Correct.
Okay, so in the packet that we received, I'm gonna read this out loud. State or local government may require the applicant to provide documentation or information only to the extent reasonably related to determining whether the request meets the requirements of this section 47 CFR 1.6100. A state or local government may not require an applicant to submit any other documentation, including but not limited to documentation intended to illustrate the need for such wireless facilities or improvements, or to justify the business decision to modify such wireless facilities. The reason why I'm stating this is in front of the Planning Commission, that there is an open checkbook for these tower companies providers to increase and add telecommunication equipment in our area without our approval. The only time that we can really question is when they're adding new towers. So keep that in mind. So here's another example. A tower is being modified with more powerful equipment. It's affecting areas around this tower, but we have no say so. We have to basically rubber stamp this approval. So keep that in mind when someone comes and asks for a new tower to be put in your neighborhood. That's the only time that you have a chance to reject these kind of approvals. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, does anyone else have any comments? Are we ready for a motion? For a motion? One.
Who's gonna make a motion? I'll make a motion. I move to approve on behalf of, Matthew Fitzgibbon / Mastech on behalf of AT&T Wireless for approval of a site plan and plan of operation amendment for Class 2 co-location on the existing communication tower located at Summit Horses and Hay property, North 80W26020, Plainview Road, tax key number 0176.996, including planner's comments.
Second.
Who's the second?
Rob jump
Rob.
cut in there. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Okay.
Motion carries 6-1. Item C, is this, another AT&T Wireless, approval for site plan of operation, amendment of Class 2 co-location on the existing communication tower located on the Mary's Custom Storage property at W275 and 6725 Lake 5 Road, Lisbon tax key number 0219.994.007. Are your comments the same as the last one, Lauren?
I just had a question for the petitioner. Matt, on the previous tower, there had been a structural analysis that you had submitted initially. For this location, the plans that you guys had submitted stated that the analysis was just of the mounting of the equipment Was there a structural analysis that was done for this location as well?
I do have structural analysis for both sites. And who am I speaking with?
Okay, Orin Sumwalt, the village planner.
Thank you, thank you.
I figured
I
you, I figured you did. I just, normally, I think you submit that along with the building permit.
It's going to be submitted promptly in the next few days, but let me pull up my folder and confirm the structural analysis is in there.
Okay.
It's pretty, I've got it at my fingertips. I just have to
I
find
know
this
that this
site.
particular facility was extended within the last 2 years, and analysis was done at that time for future additions.
That's correct.
Yeah, that was.
Pardon
one
me,
of
I'm
the found.
I'm opening up my folder and making sure it's a stamped structural analysis with a current engineer stamp. Yes, we have the structural analysis, and I'll be submitting that to the village in the next few days as part of the building permit application.
Great. That was the only question that I had for the petitioner.
Obviously Kurt's comments from the last item apply here. Is there any additional discussion, or are we ready for a motion? Ryan, you want to go again?
Sure, why not? I move to approve the, on behalf of Matthew Fitzgibbon / Mastech, I'm sorry, on behalf of AT&T Wireless, to approve a site plan and plan of operation amendment for Class 2 co-location on the existing communication towers located at Mary's Custom Storage at W275 and 6725 Lake 5 Road, tax key 0219.994.007, along with planner's comments.
Second.
You,
Is there any additional discussion? Like, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Hey,
Motion carries 6-1.
Thank the planning commission and the Village of Lisbon staff for your time and appreciate the recommendation. I'll be following up with building permit application. Thank you.
All right,
thank you, Matt. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, so James, we're back to you. Thank you for being courteous to the last couple people. So item 5A is James Heinrichs and Hometown Storage for the conditional use permit to allow a self-storage facility on parcel. This is an unofficial parcel number apparently, but
It is lot 2 of CSM 12806. Current tax key is still the same as shown under the public hearing.
okay. In the B3 general business zoning district. So we've had a lot of discussion here. I mean, so I think, where are we, is the recommendation here to go through these line by line? Is that where we left it?
Well, my suggestion is, there were a few of these standards called out and questioned. And so my suggestion would be to focus on those. And unless somebody says otherwise, the ones that weren't called out would be found to be satisfactorily approved.
We doing the cup first or the site plan?
We're doing the conditional.
So for example, section A, it needs to be on an arterial street. I don't think that was in question. B,
Could you address the fire trucks issue?
I don't think that's in question.
Landscaping, so do we still need to, Joe, you want to circle back to that one?
No, I was more concerned about the architectural treatment of the buildings.
Okay, and maybe you, I'm sorry, so C and D, we're fine with. Security measures, we're fine there, I believe. Stop me if I'm skipping over something that we want to keep on talking about. Exterior lighting, or discuss that, which is F. G is state approved plans. I think we're-
Yep, we have that.
So H, architectural plans with elevation rendering. So this is one where at least one commission member asked to kind of break things up a little bit on those 3 parallel buildings with some color changes or something along those lines. What are your thoughts there, James?
So there's been an extensive amount of design elements that have gone into the renderings that are shown currently. I know there's some bias here, but we tried to go a step above existing facilities in the area, trying to make this as nice as possible. These are the core elements of any residential home that gets developed in a subdivision. You have stone at the bottom, you have vinyl siding. It's very common to have the decorative vinyl shake, and then the cedar accent piece in the peak is just trying to put it above and beyond anything that's in the greater surrounding area.
That would be the end facing 164 on those
Yes,
three.
yep.
And so if I heard you right, Joe, you want like building 2 to have to be differentiated from buildings 1 and 3 on the east side.
Have them be identical.
Right. Right, so
Identical is different paint or identical is different windows and a whole different layout, or what are you talking about?
So that somebody viewing them going down 164 doesn't see 3 identical buildings right next to each other. Whether it's color or architectural features, it doesn't matter to me. They shouldn't be the same. Otherwise, we're gonna end up with the same. If phase 2 goes ahead, then we're gonna have a whole lot more on the other side be identical. It's gonna look like identical buildings.
that's, I mean, I think there's a lot, what we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buildings facing Q with phase 2. Here we're at 3 and there's a property removed. I don't have much of an issue, but Joe, I mean, so let's kind of take a poll, so, or we can, we need to do a formal vote like we did the last time around.
Eventually, we're gonna need a vote, but, for purposes of discussion.
So let's go down the line. Where do we think that to meet this criteria, there needs to be some change in the design? 1 yes, 1 no, or, Kurtz, why don't you go ahead and start on your end?
So we asked them to do some architectural design on these buildings to make it not look like a standard self-storage unit. I think he's come back with some really good options. I understand that they all look the same, but they don't look like necessarily a self-storage area. So from my perspective, I'm okay with what they have.
Don?
I concur, because looking at the other storage unit where the tower, on that tower, which is on the, excuse me, between Merton and Lisbon, they look, I mean, architecturally, there are some similarities. I agree with, maintain and keep as it is. I don't think that we need to have more.
All right, Sherry?
I appreciate the addition of like the stone or the brick on the bottom and the insets, in the peaks to make it look not like just a metal building. So I would be okay with that.
Brian?
I'm okay with the structures themselves. A little color would be nice, but I don't think all 7 buildings have to be different colors. Maybe half of them, or maybe, break it up, but I'm not even that particular on that, but I think it's okay.
No, I like it kind of have it designed. I don't think more colors, I think that might make it look worse and stick out if you have 10 different colors or
Like
however many.
orange or red.
Yeah, to that point, that's where it went with the neutral
Yeah.
earth tones.
I'm not-
I think good with landscaping and it's simple enough. You don't have too many bells and whistles where it's gonna get neglected. Cause you put too much on it and you
And
know,
I'm
too
not-
much stuff to maintain.
I'm not hard pressed on the colors either, just.
All right, so are we done with H then? I is no overhead doors should face the right of way, and I don't think we have that issue here. J, parking, issues to allow, including for snow plow areas, no issues there. Nope. K, outside storage, no plans for outside storage, so we're on to L. No, we talked about this one, right? No commercial.
Businesses in there.
All right, so then we're on to the next set. These all have, so,
Yeah, these apply to.
all right. Conditional use permit shall zoning districts in which it's located. We're fine there, right?
Yep.
Should I keep on going here, or should we just kind of, is there anything, okay, so B, the established maintenance and operation of the proposed use shall not be detrimental to the or endanger public health, safety, or general welfare. I don't think we have any concerns there. Stop me if I'm making a conclusion people don't agree with. C, the proposed conditional use shall be compatible with the character of the neighborhood which it's located. There's a number of factors to consider, landscaping, screening. We find there?
I would say my only comment on landscaping and screening is that there's enough room along the east side where their septic has to go to allow landscaping.
How far off the line do trees have to be, or arborvitae bushes? Can that be?
And that they won't interfere with the septic beds.
There's no setback for landscaping. The issue would be you don't want roots getting into the septic
That's
area.
right, that's what,
Yeah.
that was the concern.
Right.
There's not a lot of, unfortunately, you don't have a lot of room to play with, so.
So I think could you have some type of foundation plantings along the rear side of that building? Probably, but the type may need to change based on the septic layout, potentially. You know, not knowing what that's gonna end up being. So you could have, I'm sure, any type of shrubs, perennials, decorative grasses in that area. None of that should be an issue being adjacent to the septic or that tied up against the building. Having the evergreens in that area, potentially you could run into a space concern there just because they need more room at maturity and they have deeper root systems potentially than some of the other stuff that could be going there. So if we wanted to factor that in, we could craft a condition regarding a revised landscape plan if needed to accommodate the septic in that area.
I don't think he's going to be able to put anything substantial on the east side of that building that won't interfere with that proposed septic system. So I think anything would be very minimal in height. And so from an aesthetic perspective, you're gonna see that backside of that building. From 164, from Quick Trip.
Well, from 164, you have Quick Trip, you have the diesel, you have the gas station, you have the station, the pump station. So driving down 164, you have blockage, looking at how the Quick Trip is, it's blocking on 164. So you're not gonna have any visibility.
Quick Trip has some, pine trees, planted along, very close to the property line. So I think to Oren's point, if there was more, are you saying more like plants or something like that, or?
Yeah,
or-
decorative grass, like Carl Forster grass as an example, will get, 3-4 feet tall. It's just the tall skinny grasses. They look nice. You cut them down once at the end of the season, they come back the next year. Or shrubs or perennials, just, flowering plants that could be back there. That stuff is nice as far as potentially softening the foundation of the building, but you're correct, we probably won't get a lot of height out of that. You'll get 3-4 feet max. So the buffer yard standards that we are concerned about are mainly to the south and to the west. And you have let me just bring up that plan so that we're
How
looking
much
at it.
green do we really need to a diesel pump?
Yeah.
Right, so
Yeah,
the
exactly.
adjacent land use is actually more intense than this one, so we're not really,
I'd be worried on.
we're
the
not trying to
south end.
buffer that.
Great big
So I thought
Strip sign.
that addresses the landscaping issue behind the building, the screening issue, we're not.
So maybe we don't have to think about it as a screening issue so much as a landscape issue. The landscape plan may have to change. Would staff have the latitude to approve an amended plan should there be an issue with those plantings that are being proposed being where they're proposed? Because
You
of
know,
the septic.
looking at it, it looks like Quick Trip does obstruct the backside of the long building that goes north-south. And that's kind of where that leach bed is planned for the septic. But maybe where the other three buildings are going east-west, maybe having more taller trees or something to obstruct those buildings. Because it looks like you'll be able to see those more from 164. Because Quick Trip doesn't extend that far south.
So Kurt, you're talking about the southernmost three buildings?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just saying in that area, because there's not
Just
gonna
clarifying.
be a septic system down there. That just make sure that you have trees landscaped in that area to obstruct that view. It'll kind of break those buildings up as well, per Joe's recommendation.
So if we give Orin the latitude to approve the landscaping plan, you've received feedback about the grasses for the building and then the trees for the southern three buildings. You understand what the commission's looking for?
Yeah, I think we can probably shift some stuff down that is in that 20-foot area that might be too tight there. And potentially have something there once we know how the septic system will work, but we'll just see what it can accommodate. But yeah, if some of that other stuff shifts down to the east side of the stormwater pond, I think that's what you're talking about, Kurt. Yeah.
All right, item D is ingress egress to minimize traffic hazards and congestion on public roads. Any concern there? We'll move on to E then, adequate off-street parking. We talked about that. Proposed use should not be noxious or offensive for vibration, noise, odor, dust, smoke, or gas. G, the proposed use shall not immediate vicinity already, okay. I think we talked about that. We're fine with Quick Trip being there and other properties being vacant, no concerns, right? H. How was this different than G? All right. I, the public interest and welfare supporting the proposed use shall outweigh the individual interests of the proposed use. Okay, I'm gonna keep on moving on. All other conditional use standards identified in section 18.04 H or elsewhere shall be met. Kind of a catch-all, huh?
It's a catch-all.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't, unless there are concerns, I don't think we need to go there.
All right, so if there was a motion to approve, there's a lot of items that are listed here as conditions. Is landscaping one of them that needs to be amended or that needs to be added?
We would need to add one and that would actually be on the site plan of operation.
Okay, all right. All right, there's still time for discussion, but we can entertain a motion to approve or deny, and then have discussion after that motion. For a motion.
I make a motion that the Village of Lisbon Plan Commission approves the conditional use request for a self-storage facility as part of phase 1 of the Lake 5 storage, a new contractor storage and self-storage development for James Henrich Hometown Storage Solutions LLC for the property located County Line Road, County CHQ and State Road 164, LSBT 0161.999.010, subject to the following conditions.
As described in the staff report.
As described in the staff report.
Well, also adding the
With the
landscape.
addition of the ones
No,
that were.
landscape is under site plan of
Oh,
operation,
I'm sorry,
not under
yes, yes, I'm
conditional
sorry, you
use.
said that
Yep.
90 seconds ago, sorry.
Kurt, I would ask if you could also include that tax key parcel you identified is now known as Lot 2 of CSM number 12806.
So move.
Thank you.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Rob, was that you?
Yep.
All right, additional discussion. Brian, okay, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, so I don't know how to, I don't know how to say this, but if this septic system area goes south and you have to rearrange things, you're fully aware that you have to come back.
Yep.
Okay.
I understand. And I appreciate everybody's time in going through this in phases. We've been to multiple meetings. I appreciate everybody's time.
I don't think that mic is on anymore.
Sorry, I appreciate everybody's time.
Okay.
There's been a couple different concerns maybe about cart before the horse in the past with the rezone exhibit and then the CSM and again tonight. And I'm following all of the recommendations that are being proposed and actively, working on suggestions for improvements. So I have the full confidence from the septic installer. And that's what, I mean, he's the professional I'm placing my trust in at this point. And that's where I would ideally like to get the next step in this project accomplished tonight.
Additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 6-1. Item 5, B is the site plan of operations, the proposed storage facility at the same property. Is there anything else that needs to be highlighted here, Orin?
Just that we, based on the discussion, would want to add a condition that this be subject to the petitioner submitting a revised landscape plan to the village planner for review and approval based on the comments from the plan commission.
Don't have any comments before we can take a motion and then still have discussion? Someone,
I would point out that when the contractor condos are opened, any of those tenants would still be responsible for coming to Plan Commission and getting their own site plan of operation approval for their business. So we still get a kick at any of those contractors.
Motion to recommend to approve the hometown storage for a site plan of operation proposed on a storage facility on parcel LSBT 0161.999.010 in the B3 General Business Zoning District.
Rob, can we make that approval rather than a recommendation for approval? And can we add that it is now known as Lot 2 of CSM number 12806? Thank you.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Who was the second? Brian?
Yeah. All right, Birch, looks like you wanted to say something?
Nope.
Okay, all right. Anyone else have anything to add? All right, hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 6-1. Item 7 is the planner report, Orin.
We've got several applications for our next meeting. 4 specifically, so we'll have some stuff to talk about for next month.
And then next month, I would just remind you all that Blaze is coming back for their biannual review. They will also have their site plan of operation amendment. And if, whenever all of you are finished with your quarry inspections, if you will send me the report, once I have all of them, I will put that either on the June or July agendas to do your reports based on meeting length.
Is there a time period on that conditional use permit approval for Blaze?
Yes, yes.
The conditional use review.
Yeah,
She's
So-
so beautiful.
So
We'll-
it was tabled
yeah,
to,
does it expire?
We'll talk after after the meeting.
Okay.
You can ask staff anything you'd like.
just because it's not an agendized item, I don't want to get too deep during a meeting, but we can definitely talk one-on-one.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I just want to, at this point right now, I may not be at the meeting due to some work requirements.
Cool beans.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that.
Adjourn.
Whoa, I think John was first.
No, it wasn't me, it was Kurt.
No,
I-
oh, that was
I
Kurt.
heard, so Joe made the motion to adjourn, Rob seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We're adjourned at 8:47.
I was only off by 45 minutes.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate the extra time. You're all nice.